Assalamu alaikum. Welcome everyone. I'm here with Haisam Rida. I'm so excited for this one, guys. BJJ, black belt, judo, black belt, so much more. Probably missing that intro.
Yeah.
Brother, professional competitor. I moved to the UAE. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Walaikum salam,
So good
yeah.
to have you here, man. How are you?
Thank
All
you.
good?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me. First official podcast since moving here, so I'm excited.
Oh,
to
I'm
get it
so
going.
excited to be part of that, man.
Yes,
Brother,
sir.
thank
Yes,
you
sir.
so
Thank
much
you.
for taking the time.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I
that.
appreciate it. Once again, thanks for having me on.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not a podcast pro. I'm trying to get there. So help me out, brother. If
Hey,
there's
it's
something
all
that you
good.
want to mention, feel free.
Yeah,
Feel free.
I always get nervous behind the cameras too. So yeah,
Good
you
stuff.
take it easy on me too.
Brother, thank you so much, man.
Yes,
How are
sir.
you? You moved to the UAE just a couple months ago, right?
Yeah, I moved here like actually beginning of the Ramadan. So I think I got here on the 2nd of March this year. So it's been like roughly a little over 4 months now. Yeah.
How great was Ramadan here?
Actually, it was the easiest Ramadan I have ever done, and because it's like everything is changed to like Ramadan schedule, and like for the past like from Japan moving to America and like finally moving here, it's that was the easiest I've ever had it. Like
Right.
after and it doesn't exist in America or Japan like
Yeah.
Ramadan schedule, it's like so everything was easy, so even like the classes was less classes to teach and like the hard training was at night after iftar, so it was pretty easy. Yeah.
And like 70% of the people of the Mets are fasting as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and everybody's fasting, so
Bro,
like
so
they
different.
couldn't train during the day or trying to save energy, so
So
they could come at
different.
night. So yeah, Alhamdulillah, that was like the easiest
Yeah,
Ramadan
alhamdulillah.
by far. Yeah.
I was surprised when I moved here. Same stuff.
Yeah.
Working,
Yeah.
training. No, I can't speak for Japan, US, but I mean Europe, Germany, and stuff. Same
Yeah.
thing. So it
Yeah.
was pretty tough.
Yeah,
So that was the
exactly.
easiest Ramadan,
Uh-huh.
So, but it's enjoyable, It's you
Exactly.
can focus on stuff that's important,
Exactly, like and the vibe is there. You can feel the spirit of Ramadan,
It's so nice.
and it was just amazing, and
is true.
I think I needed that at the time for sure.
Yeah. But there's like so much in my head I would like to discuss with you. You mentioned it, US. You mentioned Japan.
Yeah,
Tell us, you are from Ghana.
yeah.
I think when I'm correct, I mean you're here to get it right for me and for everyone who's listening. And that you moved to Japan at the age of 15, and then
Yeah,
right?
that's
but
right, yeah.
Feel free, explain us.
Yeah, so originally from Ghana, I was born there. I lived there until I was 15, and like life changed at 15. So through my dad's job, he had a job opportunity to do in Japan. He was there first. He was there for a couple of years before we joined him.
Okay.
So right at 15 years old, like that's when I complete like junior high school, which is like middle school, I guess, and transition into high school. And like in Japan, in Ghana, we have a little bit of like waiting period. Like every Ghanaian watching can testify to this. It's called the BEC, which is like the final exams you take the whole country before going to high school. And we're gonna wait for the result, and it usually take like 6 months,
Okay.
and then we have a 6 month waiting period. While waiting, my dad was like, yeah, why don't you guys come visit? So initially it was just like to come visit, for 6 months, and like while waiting for high school. And my brother at the time was only 7 and I was 15, so we both moved, went to Japan together us maybe coming back to go to high school, that was the plan. But then when we got there, everything changed. My dad was like, I don't want to leave you guys for so long again.
Yeah.
I was already taller than him when I met him. It's like, yo, what have you been eating? So you're like, I don't want to leave you guys for so long. And one thing led to the other, and we just decided to stay. Yeah.
A big move from Ghana
Yeah,
to
it was,
Japan.
it was huge. Yeah, it was huge. I couldn't speak the language zero. Again, I didn't plan to stay forever, so I didn't even like prepare to
Not
like
even
learn
tried
anything.
really
Yeah,
at the beginning,
exactly.
probably. Yeah?
But things change, and a lot of things happen. And now looking back, I think I was destined to go there because like everything that I did started from there. Like my dad's boss, he was working with at the time. He was into jiu-jitsu, he was a huge jiu-jitsu hobbyist, and he loved it to the point where he opened
Japanese
his
guy?
own, Japanese guy. His name is Yamada Shigetaka. He was my first sensei, and he loved jiu-jitsu the way like he had his own academy, his own gym. He was just teaching for fun. So he was the one who like, one afternoon on the weekend, we just like met him with the family, my mom, brother, my dad together, and I remember he saw me for the first time. I wasn't this tall, but I was still very tall, and at the time, for 15-year-old.
Can imagine.
And
Yeah.
he saw me, he was like, "Oh my god!" He just started speaking, like in Japanese, like I couldn't understand what half of the things he was saying, like but my dad would translate, and he was like, "Yeah, you're very tall. You have long arms, long legs. You're gonna be good at this. You're gonna be good at playing guard and stuff like that." I was like, "Huh? What is jiu-jitsu?" And again, I didn't have much going on at the time. So I was like, "Yeah, maybe I'll just give it a try. Let's see." And that's how everything started. That's how everything started.
Wow, wow. Are you
Yeah.
still in contact with him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We're still in contact, and every time I go back to Japan, I try to see him, go pay him a visit,
Nice.
and I owe him a lot. Even though like down the line, I have to move the gym and then join another bigger school in Tokyo.
Yeah.
You know how it goes. And for me, I think at this stage, I've moved around a lot. I went from gym to gym and trying to see what's next, and with like every stage of my career or life, I think it demands something different, so I just go with the flow. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's nice. That's
Yeah.
nice. What comes in your mind when thinking from moving from Ghana to Japan? What was the biggest challenges you had at that time?
Uh, Absolutely. One of the biggest was definitely the language. The language. I couldn't,
English is not
yeah.
really still today, right? It's a little bit
Yeah,
difficult,
it's
right?
like So don't get me wrong. Like in Tokyo, it's a lot different. Tokyo is a lot more diverse. Like there's more like Westerners, like all different people, like people who live and work in Tokyo without speaking any Japanese. It exists, and like in Tokyo, you can find just like any big city, you can find people who speak
Yeah.
English, at least, But in Kanagawa, it's like a very small town, like very like countryside, a little bit. I would almost say, and we weren't even like the nicest part of like I wouldn't call it like nicest part. I wouldn't say like the biggest part of Kanagawa. We were like Zama, which is like right deep into Kanagawa, So it's
Right.
like there wasn't many people who could speak English, like barely zero. So it's like I couldn't communicate with anybody. I couldn't like the signs on the board was written. I
That's a
had no
tough one.
idea. So that's like
Yeah.
the only people I could talk to are my family. So it's just like looking back now, it's like it wasn't that crazy, but like at the time as a teenager, like I had a whole life in Ghana, like
And then you
growing
can't
up,
even
and then
speak
like
with
all of a
others.
sudden I couldn't even speak to anybody, and that was the tough part, I would say, at the time for me. And just also the culture shock, it's just like and how everything like felt like everything shrank around me. It's funny to think, but like yeah, but also the situation forced me to learn the language as quick as I could, and one thing led to the other, and before I got into high school too, it's just like a different kind of story. It's like I had to. The initial plan was to go to an international school, just like anywhere else, but it's just like my parents couldn't like afford that at the time, so the only option I had was to go
Tell
to
me
a
more, brother. I have three
yeah.
kids, Alhamdulillah, but
They were like, "What? You're gonna pay this much for a year? All right." And then on the other hand, like the public school was for free, but then I tried to get in, and they were like, "Oh man, brother, your Japanese language is so low. You're gonna have to be better than this to get into it." So I took a year off, so I was like a year older than all my classmates, maybe a little bit more, So learning Japanese, tsukaturo,
So you had
and
a
like
private teacher
private
type of
teacher,
thing? Every
for a
day?
whole year, like every day, not every day, like a couple times a week. And
Private
then
one-on-one or
yeah,
like with others?
I had others too, so
Okay.
kind of other kids in my own situations,
Yeah.
from the Philippines, from
And
all
that's
over the
everything,
place.
writing,
Yeah, so I
reading.
started from scratch, writing and how to read. Obviously, I didn't become like crazy fluent in a
Yeah.
year, but like I could already start to speak and write some things,
Yeah.
And like, the hiragana, katakana was like easiest ones to learn. So I mastered that one, but the kanji was, but also like that helped me get to a certain level to where a year later I retook the exams, and miraculously I passed, and I got into high school after that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big move, eh?
Yeah.
That's so nice. And
Yeah.
when you think of Japan, what you took from Japan with you, is there something that you, I don't know, you learned there that you, I don't know, on the mats in day-to-day life, something that would you say I took that from Japan with me?
I think the way of life, everything, the way of doing things was very different. Like how they took pride in like whatever they do, regardless of whatever it is. They took pride in it, and I think, yeah, I take pride in whatever I do, and I try to like stay grateful. That's one thing. Like I was taught a lot, even from judo to jiu-jitsu, being grateful for life, being grateful for the opportunities you have, and like I think that goes a long way, and try not to forget that. So no matter how bad things are, like I try to stay grateful, because things could always be worse, and that's one thing I will say, like the stoic things, and yeah, that's one thing I stick to for sure.
Nice. And then you made the move to the US. Is that correct? I mean, there's still so much. Actually,
So
to be
there's
honest.
a lot of things happen. I started, went to high school. After high school, I actually did travel to Brazil, stayed there for like 6 months, because I couldn't go to the US initially, because of my visa
stuff.
issues
Okay.
and like other stuff. So I didn't even made it to US. Like that was like later in my career,
Okay.
after I got my black belts, So early stages was like Japan, then to Brazil. I came back and like I was looking for more competition, like finding like training partners in Kanagawa. I just got better than everybody around me. So it's like it was time to make a move. Yeah, and I met a friend. His name is Thomas Mitz. He's still in Tokyo right now, and we actually initially met at a competition at like a local tournament. And every professor in Japan, I think, is still running. It's called the Dumao. Dumao is like the Naga of Japan, I would say.
Okay.
So it's like if you want to compete every weekend, you could do it. It's like they have it different cities. So like that's where we met one time, and like he's also like he's European and like one of the bigger guys in my category. Like so I was like, oh, okay. So after competing, we're like, okay, you know what, we might start training together. Because like, oh, you could be a good training partner for me. I'm like, yeah, likewise. So yeah, that's how the friendship started. And he was at the time working and training at Carpe Diem.
Okay.
And Carpe Diem is like known to be one of the biggest school
That's
in
in
Japan
Tokyo,
right
right?
now, which is based in Tokyo. Yeah. And so I will visit him a couple of times a week, or once or twice a week, because it's like I had to travel like an hour and a half by subway to get there.
Yeah.
And yeah, we started training together. Like shout out to Yuki. Yuki was like the head instructor at the time, and he was like, he allowed me to come in and train for free. So like I'll try my much as possible to go train with Thomas. And like, while doing that for almost like a year, there was a guy who was trying to leave his coaching position. So like there was an opening, and they were like, hey, maybe making a move here wouldn't be a bad idea. So I took the opportunity and I reached out, which was like not very easy thing to do, because like my coach at the time didn't want to let go. And I was like, oh man, it's ready for me to make a move. And yeah, but one thing led to the other. Like I made the move, and yeah, so I was in Carpe Diems. I moved in 2016, I believe, and all the way to 2020. So I was there. That's where I was as a purple belt when I first got there.
Okay.
And I started competing, and I got my brown belt right after like a year there. And then I think for another year and a half, got my black belt. And I think that's actually when I actually got known on the world stage, because I did the Quintet.
Yeah, 2018.
2018, yeah.
You submitted
So,
what, 3 or
yeah.
4 black belts, right?
I think 3 black belts in a row, or 4. Yeah, I think 4. Yeah, actually, yeah. And
God.
I was still a brown belt at the time.
Yeah.
And actually, I was just a brown belt after a year, and that kind of like, I don't know, fast forward my pace to getting like
but that was serious.
And actually,
stuff,
it was so
right?
crazy. It was crazy. Sakuraba was like, they needed one more person to like make the team, and I wasn't supposed to be there. And I think less than 2 weeks before the event, Sakuraba-san like reached out to my coach, obviously, and I got the opportunity. So to me, I was like, okay, I'm going against professionals. How bad could it be? Let me just go be myself. And just being myself, I was able to submit 4 black belts in a row. And I think that's when I was like, I got internationally recognized.
Yeah.
And I think through that was helped me get my visa to America.
Okay.
So yeah, right after that same year, I got, so it was 2018 was a pretty good year, alhamdulillah. And like yeah, so the world kind of knew about me. I think what's his name, Eddie Bravo kind of was there, and he spoke about me a little bit on like Joe Rogan's podcast, and like I just kind of like known. Everybody was like, okay, who is this guy? How come we
Oh.
never heard of him? And then like my story went out, and I think some of the flow grapplers did an interview with me, and I explained the reason why I never did walls or like never traveled or did anything in on the bigger stage because of the visa
Of
issue.
visa problems.
And yeah, so from there, like the connection started coming together, and some miracle happened, and then yeah, I gained my visa. So when I got my visa, like and 2019 was the first time. 2018 was actually the ending of the year. I went to compete in America, Vegas for the first time. And then back again in 2019, I stayed for like 2-3 months. I actually went to the Hazel Gracies there, training with under the Donald Death Squad. I wasn't known at the time, but I was just like low key training with them on and off. And yeah, but then 2020, right after, so I was there from October 2019 to like December of 2019, and I went back to Japan. The goal was to try to save up and then maybe do the next Mundial or something like that. And then the world shut down in 2020.
Yeah.
And to me, the frustration was like, oh my God, I just finally got my visa. I can travel and compete. And then now the world shut down,
happens,
So yeah, it was very hard to travel, but excuse me. So yeah, during those times, I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? And Japan, it kind of hit Japan really hard, like all the gyms closed down, like we couldn't train, there was no competitions at all. But then on the other end, you could see like in America, like, there were things going on still, like there were some states who were still like having competitions. And I had a friend who was in Michigan actually at the time, who was like, we trained together in Tokyo, so that's how I knew him, David Garmo. And, I reached out to him like, hey man, if you don't mind, I would like to come work here together so I can still compete and do all that stuff. And it was like, to him at the time it was music to his ears, so he gave me the opportunity. And so I moved to Michigan. Yeah, I moved to Michigan, and I was with Assembly for another 2 years, So during my times there, everything was just, I believe, like, I think within the first 2 weeks of moving to America, I won the American Nationals, BJJF. And that also kind of helped. Yeah, I think my category, I won everything by submission. And I took second place in like the open weight.
This is I started, I think, to see you also. That was the Quintet performance. I think that was the first time where I saw you competing as
with the blonde hair and everything.
I think it was blonde hair, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You're not doing this anymore?
I don't know. Maybe it might come back.
So, and then what I liked really when I watch you every single time.
Yeah.
You go to finish. You fight to finish. You fight to actually do something.
Yeah.
It is so difficult for me to watch, and I don't understand really the strategy behind when people, I don't know what the goal is really like, just stay on top doing nothing, go on the feet back and forth all the time. I don't know. Probably, of course, no one wants to lose, but also at the same time, you want to win, right?
Yeah,
exactly, and if it's really a win, if you just do nothing, I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, you're the complete opposite. Just I said. I mean, you go for the finish, and most of the time, it even works. And
and again, like for me personally, I didn't like go like long fights. I try to finish it as early as I can, and you
have a gas tank problem.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I think the longer the fight goes, sometimes the problem might probably, which I'm fixing, by the way. So if you're listening, don't worry about that.
Don't worry, he's working.
But also, it's just like I'm there for a reason. And I want to take it. Again, being grateful for the opportunity to be there, and grateful for the people who are watching. So I want it to be worth it.
I love that. Yeah.
And to me, it's I felt like I owed a lot of people, not in a bad way, but also just I want people to watch me and see that this is something I want to do. And I didn't want to be in a fight where it's always gonna end up what did I get from this fight? And just from a spectator level, I know how frustrating that can be. And so I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's put on a show. That's what I say to all of my opponents. When we do the face off after I started professional, I shake hands hey, let's put on a show. Exactly. And then win or lose, I think, it's exciting. And that's like a part of it. That's one thing I don't want. Like, I'm working on, like, not to let it bother me too much. It's just go out there and like put it on, and alhamdulillah, like I'm blessed with like some orthodox style. So sometimes sometimes I do stuff that people don't drill it. You just have to have it, and
Okay.
alhamdulillah, I just seem to go for the kill whenever I see the opportunity. If I
Yeah.
see the opening, I'm gonna take it.
Last when I reached out to you
Yeah.
for this episode,
Mm-hmm.
of course I was rewatching stuff again. Just getting excited.
Yeah.
And I also saw the match with Cyborg, which
Oh,
was
yeah.
incredible. Bro.
Yeah,
That armbar and stuff, right?
Yeah, and again,
I
I
mean,
had
what
the
is
underhook.
going through someone's mind if you stand in front of that tank, which is a legend of the sport, right? I mean,
Yeah.
what is going through your mind when you're standing in front?
Honestly, like, that was my ADCC debut. Like that's what most athletes. I mean, nowadays they have all these like international or not international, but like big money events that's come around. But like up until 3-4 years ago, ADCC was the shit. Like, excuse my French.
Don't worry.
ADCC was like the main thing. Like that's what everybody was training for, And I finally got my opportunity, and like my first round was like a legend of the sport, like Cyborg, And I saw in my mind, it was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go out there and then do my best, Even I might lose, but I want to make it like to the point where I gave it my all, no regrets,
Yeah.
And
And it worked out perfect.
I feel like, hey, I'm not gonna be easy around, I don't know if you're gonna take me easy. It's not gonna be easy, I want to show the world that I belong here, And
Yeah.
like there's always gonna be that pressure, the nerves, like, man, I don't think I belong here, and I kind of might deal with that a little bit, and so I wanted to prove myself, like, hey, you can hang with the best, and in that moment, I think like the something I've been drilling a lot using the underhooks. Shout out to Jake Herbert. I was working with him a lot. Well, that's when I was in Michigan, and Michigan is a very big state for wrestling,
Yeah.
And Jake Herbert, being an Olympic wrestler, he was like, hey, you're not gonna be shooting for takedowns now doing that. So he taught me a lot of like upper body stuff, and like how to
Greco-Roman
defend. Yeah, Greco-Roman stuff. Yeah,
Greco-Roman
like using the underhooks.
It's not
and
enough
all
to
that stuff.
be judo or black belt.
Yeah,
It's not enough.
exactly.
You have to learn more stuff.
You had to learn more stuff, And my wrestling was zero, at the time. But like leading into ADCC, I did work a lot on that. But anyways, and the defense he did from the 2-on-1 was the best, So you can tell I was setting up the 2-on-1, maybe trying to get a tie up, attempt a throw or something like that. But he defended really well, and like the underhook that I drilled so much was right there, and also like everything went in alignment. And actually, I was trying to go for a knee tap and get a takedown,
Yeah.
But then, again, my mind's saying, like, hey, you get an opportunity to do something crazy right now.
Yes.
So I was going for the takedown. And you know what? At last minute, I just switched my mind, and then like the arm is there. I spin around and went for the arm.
Exactly.
And like, I felt like a rock star that day. It was crazy, and like, people start screaming.
Yeah.
Like,
bro, it's one of the.
And I remember
coolest
thinking like, hey, man, I can't mess this up. I gotta go for the finish.
Yeah.
And one of the strongest people I've ever went against,
Yeah.
And talking about it, I'm probably gonna have to run through him, go against him again soon, which is gonna happen in like, but it was one of the best feelings. I remember when I finally had the separation with the arm, and then like fall to the other side and then switch, and I was like, hey, is either gonna tap or this is gonna broke. I wasn't letting go, and and everything went in my favor, and I got the tap, and like by far it was, one of the best highs I've ever felt.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Vegas, like everybody screaming, and I remember going to the arena that day, like, who is this guy? Maybe he's just gonna get run through, and like by the end of the events, like people were in line for pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was by far one of my coolest days. I will never forget that. I'll be telling my grandparents and my
Yeah.
my grandkids about that for sure.
Yeah, brother.
For sure. Yeah.
That's so nice, man. I watch it. I was watching it so often now these days again. This is one of the greatest,
Yes, sir.
highlights
Yes, sir. For
I've
sure.
ever
For sure.
seen.
Yeah. And that's the moment that's gonna live on forever. Alhamdulillah, for sure.
That's true, brother. And so you spend a good amount of time now in the US. How many years? 5?
Yeah, 5 years. 5 years in the US for sure.
From Japan to US.
Yeah.
What
from
was
Japan.
the another cultural shock or? lesser than
Yeah, lesser than like when I was 15 to Japan, that's
yeah,
for sure, you
yeah.
know. And finally, you know, I felt like I fit in a little bit more, you know, like nobody was too like, you know, I was still surprised that I was very big in like, for the most part, I was still very tall than
Okay,
like majority of people, because I was like, oh, everybody should be big in America, but like, you know,
maybe in a
uh,
different maybe in a different direction.
yeah, yeah, but
I'm
I
not
still had
not
that. That's yeah, but yeah, you know, I fit in a little bit more better, and again, Michigan was a very small state. I always like seem to like move to new places, not in the best season. So I moved there in December, which was like one of the coldest seasons, you know.
Mm.
So yeah,
Bro, you always choose like the worst
yeah,
times to move
I
somewhere.
know, right?
December it
Yeah.
was cold. You come to the UAE when it's
I
like
don't know. There's
55.
something. Yeah, maybe I like tough
You
stats. You
like
know.
extreme stuff.
Yeah, but you know, and like Michigan is very like very family. You know, family based like place. You know, like and like you know, it's like you never hear people move to Michigan because they want to be artists or stuff like that. You know, people from Michigan, they move to other places to go chase their dreams and stuff like that. So to
Yeah.
me, it was like, yeah, there wasn't like a lot of crazy things to do. It was just like train, repeat, come back,
Okay.
and like do all that stuff. So yeah, and at that stage of my life, I think I needed that, you know, and like it really did pay off for sure. It really did pay off, you know. 2 times American national champion, like who's number one. I went on like a 5-1 run. I did who's number one championship. I took third place. I got invited to ADCC. I got submission of the year. So
Yes.
yeah, I did all that while I was in Michigan. So yeah, it really did.
Nice,
It really
brother.
did pay off. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
good. So good. And now you're here in the UAE for what, 5 months?
Yeah, for well, almost 5 months. Yeah,
5 months.
almost 5 months. Yeah.
And where's that idea coming from? Or what are you expecting from the move to the UAE?
Yeah, the UAE is like I think making the move here, it has a lot of things to do with my personal reasons, you know. For sure, I a lot of spiritual stuff too, you know. I wanted to be somewhere I could like be closer to maintain my deen, you know, like I felt like personally I drifted a little bit away, so not proud of it, but like, you know, it is what it is, and I wanted to take the opportunity. I met a friend who I'm really close with, and you know, also try to like come around and make the nogi scene around a lot more competitive, you know. And I think maybe being here, you know, there's already some top guys, and maybe we're gonna attract more tougher guys, and like let's see if we can like grow the
I
nogi
like
scene
that.
here.
I like
Yeah,
that. So that's not only like your own goals and stuff. You really try to
exactly
give something back to
exactly,
the
yeah,
region
the
and
region,
like
exactly.
grow the nogi stuff,
That's
right?
yeah,
It's
100%
pretty gi
true.
heavy. It's pretty gi
Yeah,
heavy.
it's that's one thing I noticed. I mean, like I used to come to the UAE, which is like Abu Dhabi, to do the World Pro multiple times in the gi, and it's still very gi heavy, you know. And I feel like the world is like really moved. The nogi scene is growing, especially in the States, Europe is growing really fast. So I'm like, why not, you know, and focus on the market here. And you know, we still have gi classes at Buka Gym where I'm working at, you know, but I'm running mostly all the no-gi classes, the no-gi program. Don't get it wrong, I still can hang in the gi, you know. I still can hang in the gi,
I'm
you
sure
know.
you can, brother.
I got a judo black belt too, so you know, you're gonna get thrown. But you know, I just I think the excitement level is a lot different, and I think it's easier to like attract more newer people into no-gi than the gi. I don't know.
Especially with the younger guys, right?
exactly,
And
exactly, you know.
who are getting started with the sport, right?
100%.
Because they're coming from looking at people like you and others.
Exactly,
It's
yeah.
the most entertaining stuff is nogi
Exactly, yeah.
competition. So
Yeah,
they're looking
for
at us,
sure.
I want to do the same thing, right?
Yeah,
So that's the natural point of start from for most of them.
yeah.
Judo
100%.
black belt. Where did you start the judo?
Yeah, this is a little story. I started judo in Japan. I did judo. The
It
name of
must
my
be
sensei.
so different. Please explain me more. I mean,
Yeah.
judo and jiu-jitsu in Japan and stuff. It must be
yeah.
so different.
Yeah. You know, so yeah, actually growing up, I did a lot of strict stuff. You know. Yeah, it was very strict. Training judo, you know, and all that stuff. But like
What do you mean
Yeah,
by
you-
that strict?
you know, like having to follow the like the Bushido way of living
But that's
style.
so
That's
nice,
like
bro.
yeah, it was
Right?
amazing. Like, yeah, to
Is it
me that
not?
was like it was more like mind blowing and fascinating. I've never seen anything that required a lot of discipline, a lot of like what's it called? Like stoicism and like stuff like that. It's like
Yeah.
but anyways, Yoshihara Dojo, that's where I trained in Zama actually, at the same area that I grew up. Um and my sensei is Yoshihara. Actually, I haven't last time I checked on him was 3 years ago. He's pretty up there, like so. He was in like his 70s at the time, so I don't know.
Wow.
But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. He's Japanese, so I wouldn't be surprised with that. But I gotta check on him after this. I gotta check on him after this
Good.
interview for sure. But
Good.
like, yeah, and the story was I started training under my coach, who's Japanese, Yamada Shigetaka. That's where I started, and I think after 3 or 4 months, I got into my first jiu-jitsu competition.
You did judo, and then you met the
No. I started with jiu-jitsu.
you started with jiu-jitsu, and you did
Yes.
judo
Okay. So
later.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, not that later on,
Like-
because like it was a little bit, just a little few months away. So I started with jiu-jitsu. So here's the story. I got into my first competition, I think after 4 months of training. I was still like, I think I was 16 years old at the time, 16 and some months, almost 17. I actually competed my first competition with a green belt or orange belt actually around my waist. So I was very tall, but like that. Yeah. And again, the competition I went was like against a kid who was a judo guy. And like it was so bad, I got thrown around so much, and I was just trying to stand with him with some reason. Like I think he scored like 16
Was
points.
a jiu-jitsu match?
It was a jiu-jitsu match,
So
but
after the
every
first throw,
time,
just stay down.
I didn't know. Like I was just like 4 months in, and then for some reason I just kept charging at him, trying to grab it, and then anything he would just throw me. And my coach watched this and like, you know what, you gotta train some judo, like, and at least understand the basics. So yeah, that's how I started. I got into that, to avoid getting thrown like that too. And to me, also, again, it's just like anything else. I think this story is like known. You go to your first jiu-jitsu class, you get beat up, and then now you just get addicted to trying to figure out what is it this was. And it was the same thing for me. The loss was so embarrassing for me at the time. I was like, okay, I gotta figure this out. So I started training judo multiple times a week, and then my sensei added judo. Even though judo wasn't like, I loved it, but it was way more stricter. The tatamis was like old school tatamis. It hurts every time.
So hard, right?
It was so hard.
Yeah.
And actually, it made me want to like appreciate jiu-jitsu.
The green
more.
ones, the light green ones.
The green ones, yeah, the light green ones. Like very.
I
And
know
then we
that.
had to clean the mats up on our own after each session.
Yeah.
Like, there's like there's a certain door only the senseis is supposed to walk through. I'm not supposed. So it taught me a lot of like discipline and like
I
a lot
love
of
that.
like
I love that part.
how to bow. And actually the first few months is like how to do the seizo, like standing up the samurai way of like standing up, sometimes you have to come up with the setting lower leg. And I think before you get the black belt, you have to go through all that.
What is that with the
Like how to sit properly in the Bushido way or like the samurai way, and even when you're standing up from the seizo position, I don't know, how do you call seizo? When you cross your feet, sitting down, like that.
Yeah.
There's a way you have to sit down when you're going down, and then.
Oh, I didn't know that there was a process even on which leg and stuff
which leg
first.
to
I
come
didn't know
up
that.
first. Yeah, I had to learn order, and like and how to bow, what to bow to, and like which is kind of like a little bit mixed because like as Muslim, you're not supposed to bow to anything but Allah, but like
I want to ask you a question, and this one is very interesting for me because I always struggle with this, and you're the perfect guy to ask that question because you're Muslim.
Yeah,
you spent many years in Japan.
Yeah,
you know the Bushido way of doing things, so you're the perfect guy to ask you that question.
Yeah.
As a Muslim, and listen, I'm just a consumer again. I'm not doing fatwas and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But the thing with the bow, and especially when we're like the one on the knees, where they do like almost like
almost like touching
sujood.
sujood, yeah.
That's like a little bit too much, but like even the standing one, if it's like, I've heard from different. I don't have names right now. I'm not prepared for that, but that's easy to find. Where they say we shouldn't do that because it's too close to the parts in the prayer.
Yeah. Honestly, again, like I wasn't very, to be honest, I wasn't very knowledgeable with that, and I tried not to do it as much anymore. Especially from the knees. From the knees where you like completely
I mean,
looking down.
it's all right.
Yeah,
That
that's
looks like
almost like
suju.
that looks like completely like that. So I could actually had to change my ways, because like but also I think from the standing position too, you kind of like go down a little bit, but also you're never supposed to take your eye contact from like your opponent, so you cannot just completely look down. You have to like maintain eye contact even when you're going down. So it like slides bow. But at the end of the day, like now at the level or at the stage or like where I'm at right now, I try to just like be more respectful, but not in that way anymore, because again, it's a
It,
lot.
it, it
It's very close to
right.
just like
It's too close.
bowing down.
And
Or like yeah,
I understand it.
yeah.
Every time they're looking at me like, you're crazy. It has nothing to do with praying to someone. I said, I
No, no, no.
understand it.
Yeah,
Of course, you're
exactly.
not
Yeah.
praying to me. I'm not praying to you. I'm not asking you for stuff. It's all form of respect, which
Yeah.
I love so much. Like, it's all about respect.
Yeah, yeah. But also,
it
yeah,
just
I think
it
you
doesn't
can like be respectful without having to
in
do all
different
that. And
ways,
then to
yeah.
me, it's like I wouldn't say I compromised my beliefs. I just wasn't like knowledgeable enough at the time. So after I knew it, I try not to do it as much anymore. So yeah, again, yeah, I'm not against it, but also like
difficult,
as
right?
Muslim, I think it's just a tough spot to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
One day, people sometimes, they think like I'm crazy. Japan is one of my favorite countries. I've never been there. I've never been there, but it's one of my favorite countries.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, again, like same, growing up with judo and all of that stuff, and like watching the movies, and like it had so much influence through the years and growing up that like and even now, like I'm just a big fan.
Yeah.
But I like all that samurai ninja stuff, and like I wish I could fight with katanas and like bow and arrow, the Kyudo.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I found I was still living in Frankfurt, and I found the Kyudo. I don't even know how they call themselves, dojo, academy. I don't know, the bow and
The
arrow,
dojo.
the big Japanese bow that they have.
Yeah.
And I said,
Actually, I never got into that, but like, yeah.
But I said, I want to do this. So I was contacting them, and like, you can come like for a trial and stuff. Like, I was so excited, and I was looking at the class, and then like they have a ceremony where they walk in and like bow down and stuff. And I said, hey, listen, guys, I can't do that. Like, are we still okay? Like, are you okay if I just skip that part? Like, I want to pay my respect in any other way. Like, I do whatever. Like, I clean the whole place, but
exactly,
I just can't do that. And I said, no, you cannot. You have to do it. You can't come. I never went because they said you have to. They're like not open for anything else.
Yeah,
Like, you have to. If you don't come. And I'm like,
that's the thing about like the Japanese, like this is very strict, and like
they're not even Japanese people. They're just
okay, all right. Well,
German dudes.
Really? Yeah. Well, super
But
into the
taking it
culture.
super serious,
And sometimes too, they can take it a lot more seriously than the actual Japanese too. Like people who get into it that way. But yeah, again, it's a very tough spot. But I wouldn't, again, at the end of the day, like right now, at the time I did it, yes, but without having the much knowledge that I do now. So would I do it again? No, I don't think so anymore. But I'm still grateful for the skills that I took from it. 100%. And like now I try to show respect in like different ways, and at the end of the day I only bow to Allah. So I take I wouldn't say it's anything bad. At the end of the day, it doesn't come from worshiping somebody. It comes from like respecting somebody. But also it can be a little bit to where it's like the dojo, the sensei only works. You cannot walk through a certain door, only the sensei does. So it almost becomes like a worshiping type thing, So it's a tough stuff. But again, it helps shape who I am. It helps shape me who I am, and like I admit that I didn't know much at the time, So that's the whole thing I can say at this time.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I was thinking sometimes.
But the skills though, the best.
Yeah, right.
For sure.
How you met Sakuraba?
Yeah, Sakuraba-san is like obviously.
What's the san stand for? When you say his name, you always say
san. Okay, it's like Mister.
A Mister.
Yeah. So
what? But Sakuraba is his first name, right?
Sakuraba
so you say
Sakuraba-san means
first name Mister.
Yeah. No. So in
Haisam
Japanese, kind
san?
of like Haisam-san. So the Mister comes after. I don't know why. Like it's just the way the language works. So for me, they'll call me Haisam-san.
Okay.
Yeah. So san means like it's a form of respect. I cannot just call him Sakuraba. That's like.
Oh, okay. You can't do that. Even if you're friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if you're friends.
And again, that's the thing in Japanese. They have the hierarchy. It's like which is like So anybody who's older than you have to refer to them in a certain way. So it's like very disrespectful to just call them by their first name.
Understand?
Yeah, which is like not very. Nobody really cares about that in the West, but in Japan they do. And like they have the keigo and like tameguchi. Like keigo is like the ones you use for somebody who's like even a year older than you. You still have to use that even in high school.
What is that? Keigo?
Yeah, keigo is like it's kind of like speaking appropriately, and then tameguchi is like colleagues speaking with somebody who's on the same level or maybe younger than you. So the way you speak to somebody older or like somebody who's like higher in authority and like somebody who's lower is totally different. Yeah,
But
so that's
but
why
you have to add an extra word.
Son, yeah.
That's still son then. Or do
so-
you have son and extra other words as well?
Yeah, pretty much, and like everything you say, like
So Sakuraba
like
is san.
Sakura-san, if it says something to me, for example, you probably heard this word arigato, which everybody knows this means thank you. I cannot say arigato to him. I would say arigato gozaimasu. I have to use like that kind of like the gozaimasu. Yeah, wakarimashita. Like instead of saying like, oh yeah, I get you. Like I have to. There's different ways to say it, but you gotta be in it to understand that.
Wow.
So yeah. So even when it's not around, I still use it just from
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, but anyways, how I met was again that was I knew who Sakura-san was,
course,
obviously, and like I watched him and everything, but it was the Quintet that I debuted in 2018.
But he reached out to you. Or you
Technically to my coach, yeah.
Okay.
My coach at the time. So 2 weeks before, I think they needed one more person to make the team. I think they had a guy who got injured last minute. I don't remember the whole things, but and they just did the lightweight one, and then this time they were doing the heavyweight. So they needed one more heavy guy, and I think the time they didn't have enough time to invite somebody from. Because they were inviting people from all over the place. They didn't have enough time to invite somebody from an international country. So somebody kind of name dropped me, and they were like, hey, there's this. And at the time I was like, not to brag, but I was like killing it in Japan. I've won all Japan multiple times, Asian championship. I just couldn't get to the States, because of visa issue. Yes. But so I was pretty known, even though it wasn't international. And somebody just name dropped me. They're like, hey, there's this guy who's a brown belt. He's doing all this stuff. Why don't you give him a chance? So they looked me up apparently, and they reached out to Yuki-san, who was like the coach of Carpe Diem, and then called Yuki-san like, hey, when are you guys training next? And I told him, and then, hey, you're gonna have a special guest. Sakura-san will be coming. I'm like, what? No way. And I was nervous obviously, and he was standing there. I think there's a video on YouTube when he came and like with his camera crew. And they were watching us train. I was like, yo, that's Sakura-san right there. And the good thing was I was able to put on my A game that day. And after the training,
smashed everyone in the gym.
Yeah, I went a little harder than I usually do. And after that, he's like, hey, okay, this is what we're doing. Maybe we might give you a try. So I was like, okay, maybe he was gonna watch. Like nothing's gonna happen. And then like I didn't even take a shower yet, and I got a message from my coach after they left that hey, they actually want you to be part of the team. So I was part of the team. That's how I initially met him, and then we ended up going on to compete together in the Quintet.
Nice.
And you know what happened? I went on to like submit 4 black belts that day in a row, and like I think my life changed after that day. I really learned, and I think that was my even bigger than the cyborg thing for me, because that put me on the stage to even get to the cyborg fight.
That was the
exactly.
fundamentals, right? The base.
So to me, that was one of the best days, and I could have froze, but alhamdulillah I did not, and that opened up a lot of doors for me, and that was a cool experience. And I'm still in contact with Sakura-san. I wish some things I could like spill the tea right now, but I can't because it's confidential. But there's a lot of things that's still gonna happen.
Just tell me later.
I'll tell you later. Yeah, no worries. I'll tell you later. But we're still in contact, and there's a lot of things that's still gonna happen. There's more Quintet coming for sure, so people to watch out for that.
That's so nice.
And for sure. Yeah.
Quintet was really changed everything.
Yeah, I think nowadays you see like the Quintet rules everywhere, and like, people
now happening.
Because it was
CJI.
like it's a fun format to fight, because it doesn't matter even who the best team is. One person can
so
just
much more
mess
to
up,
think
and
of.
like things can go wrong easily or go right, and then you never know how things are gonna end, you know. So yeah, I think it's a very exciting rule set, and yeah, there's still more to come for sure.
Yeah,
More to
great,
come,
great.
yeah.
But something else that I want to ask you: when you train these days, how you structure your training? Is it, are you someone who repeats stuff over and over again, drilling? Is it hard rounds, rolling? How much weight lifting, cardio? How does that look like?
Yeah, again, over the years, I've had the opportunity to learn from different people coming up, um, like physical trainings and all that stuff. And, like coming from having the opportunity to train some guys with like Jack Herbert, who is like Olympic wrestler level. And, even with the B team in like Austin, Texas, and like, from Japan, the judo days now, and I saw the importance of like repeating stuff over and over again because in judo, like it's like one of my best throws is like the Uchimata Harai Goshi. And I'll drill those over and over and over and over, like to the point where it's like it comes to you naturally, and it still does. Like if you make a wrong move and you let my hip get under you, you're gone. So I understand the importance of repeating the same things, and I've also with the B team too. And then one thing I learned over there is like working from bad spots.
Is that
Yeah,
something that they
yeah, exactly.
okay,
That's
like
one thing they do,
positional
like
sparring
pushing
type of thing?
rounds. Yeah,
Okay.
and I that's where I actually learn about like, having spending a lot of times in like in bad spots also like gives you a different kind of like confidence where you kind of like get used to escaping, like starting from the back, starting from the cross, 50-50 pushing, like defending the leg and like escaping from the
That's a
mount,
good one. Yeah.
and also like in the wrestling aspect too, what you gotta do, how to drill the stem stuff, like trying to like polish your own techniques and the physical training too. Like, what do you really want? Where do you need to get strong in? Like, is it your legs? What's like your lower back? So, yeah, I learn all the stuff and like I try to like combine everything together into my training here. So, yeah, I wouldn't say I have the same level of guys that I train with at B team, for example, here. But I found the best I can around here and like, the best training program that I know that has worked. And, I just trying to do the same thing that I learned from, Alhamdulillah, traveling the world, learning from all these people. I trying to copy the same thing because like nobody has anything original. You just copy from what they do differently or what they do that's working, and you try to do the same things. Yeah.
That's
So yeah,
amazing
that's like
experience, putting all
and
together.
yeah, I used to just like have guys and just like run through or like trying to do for harder every day. But now it's more like pushing around, starting from a bad spot and then trying to make work your way out. And I think that also like help boost your confidence in knowing that if you can escape like a bad spot, then you can like attack more. And again, also like just drilling your A games too, to know that okay, no matter how bad things are going, if I get you to this spot, I'm gonna finish the fight. So I have that confidence of this. If I get to this position, I can get this done. All right, maybe if I'm here, I can maybe manage to get out of it. Oh, you know, all my best throws. Like setting up things like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, just like I structured things way, and then that's how I was trying to like run my classes too. We spend like we don't first of all not make the the classes too long. Another
How long
thing
is your
like
class?
it's like an hour. Yeah,
One
yeah,
hour.
and not we don't spend. That's another thing I learned. Like, don't spend too much. Just warming up. Like, it's not necessary. You're gonna use the drilling part to warm up.
I'm so happy you're
Yeah,
saying that. I
so and some classes I feel like it's unnecessarily long. If it's anything more
yeah.
than an hour and a half, I'm like, you spend 30 minutes warming up. I'm like, come on, it's not like a CrossFit class.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, that's always my
So
thoughts. If I
yeah,
want to do
so yeah,
push-ups and jumping jacks,
exactly,
why
exactly.
do I need drill for that?
So yeah, so I come in like everybody's saying like we're gonna start like with the working with the technique. Maybe sometimes I just do like a wrestling drill to warm up, and then we do 3-4 minutes. Okay, right away we go into
Nice, nice.
the drills, whatever techniques on that day. And again, 1 week I try to spend it on like one technique we're doing. So if we like passing like or like like a half guard passing or like what's it called? Like last week we were working on like a body lock stuff, tripod passing. The whole week we just gonna work on different variations, different things we're gonna go. So by the end of the week, at least the girls are gonna get used to doing the same thing, and then every first round is gonna be just that. Whatever we're working on that day, that's gonna be the first round. So the pushing around is gonna start from there. I'm not just gonna teach you like, hey, we're gonna work on the back, do some random stuff, and open rounds. Let's just go. And you never get to implement what you just learned. I don't think that's a good way of like to learn it. So yeah, we're gonna spend the first round like doing that pushing that we just worked on, and force it to implement that. And then we do another different kind of like a pushing around, and and I think that's actually important too, because at the end of the day, like everybody, if you just let them go, even myself too, we have ego issues. We have this. Everybody's just gonna go back to what they're good at, and they never learn anything. So it's just like you gotta have to force yourself to do from some pushings, even though you don't like it. You have to be in it.
Doesn't help.
So and 25 to 30 minutes spending on that, and like 3 rounds of pushing around, and the rest of the 3 rounds is gonna be the open rounds. And then if you want to just roll, there's an open mats. You can come in and just roll on that. Like once a week, just focus on that. That's
you have open mats as well, yeah?
Yeah, we have an open mat.
Is it Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday, 11 a.m. Yeah.
11 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like it goes faster, and I think it's like solid weight. And I think like I kind of steal something in my days from B team, and that's how they run the class. They spend most time like doing like pushing arounds. The first 3 rounds is always pushing out.
Yeah,
it's always push now. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is how things are done. And actually, you can see, guys like the tough guys who are like, you can put them in the West positions and they just come out. They don't even like phase because they've been there so many times, So yeah, I think that works a lot better too.
I saw that the first time in 2019 I went to New York.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the perfect place to.
And I went to
the Blue Basement, right?
Yeah, I went there for no-gi class on a Wednesday. I think it was 7 a.m. or something.
I remember those classes. Yeah. Is it just me? Well, like he always takes some time to get to the class.
But listen, I arrived there. I'm a complete fan, and everything. Like I walk down there.
Yeah.
I pay my fee. I'm changing. I go there. Craig Jones is sitting there, and I'm like, I can't believe that, I'm walking to Craig Jones, not trying to be weird, but then like 2 seconds later, I'm like, let's take a picture, being annoying, and then
I think they're used to that.
Yeah, he's used to that for sure, and I couldn't hide it, being in New York, seeing these guys, and then Craig told me, like I'm sitting with Craig, just having a chat, and then he tells me, he goes, yeah. He might be on time, he might be late. Most likely he's late. So really, like, that's strange, And then like 50 people,
it's
50
crazy.
people at 7 a.m.
I think more when I was there. It's like crazy. At 7 a.m. I couldn't believe it.
But John was on time.
Was he?
He was on time.
I swear to God, when I first got there, okay, go ahead.
He walked across the mats, looked at no one.
Yeah.
Good morning, gentlemen. We went to his little room.
I know, like, right?
He just changed lower body, He was already in the rush guard.
Yeah, he's in the rush guard with his funny pack around the waist.
Big pack, And then he goes, all right, everyone takes a training partner. And then we did a technique. We showed like 2-3 different techniques and then positional sparring.
Yeah,
I was positional sparring with... Like, this guy was so good, like, was pretty tough. And I'm like, what are you doing? He said, I'm just a banker for JP Morgan. I was like, this guy was so good, bro. It was crazy.
That's wild, right? That was crazy, yeah.
That was good.
I remember my first time, I had to ask again, hey, am I in the right class? Because 10 minutes, 15 minutes, John wasn't around yet. So I was like, okay. But then right away, he just came downstairs and walked straight to the office and then came out. Okay, guys. I was like, all right, the class is still on. But yeah, again, you experienced that.
Yeah, it was interesting. And then also, Craig told me that you never know how long the rounds are. One round might be
There's
3
no
rounds,
time.
12 minutes.
12 minutes, exactly.
5, 3.
Exactly.
Which was very interesting, right? And I understood immediately what's the benefit of that. Because often, like, you have like head-to-head and then like you have these point people, right? And then like they take like side control and like look at the watch 30 seconds. I'll just stay here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was interesting as well.
Yeah, to me, I didn't know about it because like I think he had the time, right? Also, sometimes I just felt like maybe he forgot to check the time.
Probably.
I don't know.
Never
But yeah,
hit the
there was
start
no like
button,
a clock display or anything like that. That's definitely. And then like I'm like, okay, this round is very very long,
Yes,
and then
yes.
sometimes too it's very short. And then yeah, you never knew what you're gonna get. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that as well.
No, he's the guy, man. He's so clever. I think
Yeah,
I
definitely.
heard
Yeah.
something else. I
Mhm.
think one time I heard when people, for example, they I could be wrong, but I'm pretty. I think I heard that somewhere. I think from him on some video. That when people prepare for competitions, for example, we always do 5 minute rounds,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
they're like, "All right, let's do 7 minute rounds."
yeah,
And
yeah.
he goes the
Actually,
complete opposite. I think he goes, let's do 3 minute rounds. Because now he wants that you find the finish in a shorter period of time
mm,
instead of
interesting,
adding more time. You know, if it's about the
interesting.
gas tank, go around, run the block if you need. But
Yeah,
he's training, what I understood, maybe he changes things up, that he wants the finish in a shorter time instead of
a longer
what's
time.
the reason of doing it longer?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
get more efficient, like
Yeah.
finish it faster.
Okay, well,
It's interesting,
yeah,
yeah?
that's a very interesting way to see it, but also it kind of makes sense. And also, I feel like if you're gonna compete for 7 minutes, if being able to like what's it called, strategize within 7 minutes, But also, if you're looking to go for the kill, it doesn't matter. It can be within 1 minute or 3 minutes, so that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Who
and
was
definitely, yeah,
you mentioned some interesting parts of the B team that you added to from or learned there in terms of position and sparring stuff.
yeah.
Who was the toughest round there?
Oh yeah, for me it was Nick Rod for sure.
Nicky Rod, yeah.
Yeah, man, the guy used to kill me for sure. Nick Rod,
How's rolling with him?
not fun. He's
Very
he
physical.
only got very physical, very technical, very everything.
Everything.
Yeah, and he never slows down.
Oh my god.
He never slows down.
He
That's
keeps
the crazy part, and
pushing and pushing.
like one thing is like as a heavyweight, like one thing I can say as a heavyweight, I move very fast, I move well, and like he's the only one of the heavyweights that like outpace me, I'll say, and never slows down the whole round. I'm like, yeah, it was tough. It wasn't the very fun times, yeah. But but everything else becomes easy after that, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
How are you using your judo and nogi?
Um,
How is that working?
Definitely, I use a lot of my foot sweeps to distract the tempo of my opponent's movements.
Saw that a lot.
And when I get the tie out, so it's almost like I'm comfortable in some positions because I know I can like counter this, So definitely a lot of foot sweep to like frustrate my opponent. Even if I don't hit it, it's like it makes it
now
like
thinks about it.
because like anytime you're trying to bring your lead leg, I'm gonna go for the inside trip. So now you cannot move forward with your lead leg anymore. So you have to switch things, and then when you get too close, I get a tie up, and then like usually I try to send to you here, yeah, and trying to use my Greco-Romans a little bit and then mix it up, which I think has been working very well, using the underhooks, the overhooks to go for my throws.
Yeah.
And then actually, yeah, I think my judo is becoming more beneficial to me in nogi than it ever did in the gi,
Oh,
honestly.
really?
So
Really?
yeah, I'm very grateful for that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. You still put on the gi every now and then?
Yeah. Actually, right now I'm teaching like once a week gi class.
Nice.
So yeah,
Nice.
just to maintain that, Yeah, I don't know about competing, but yeah.
You add a
just,
lot of judo throws in that class in the gi?
a lot of guard play. We haven't done so many judo things yet. Yeah.
Okay.
But I do teach a lot of like throws in my nogi actually. So how my nogi classes are structured is like the first 5 minutes usually I teach like a wrestling technique or like a throw or something like that, a counter. Also just not just for the wrestling sake, but also for like to warm up quickly before we go into the main technique of the day. So yeah. That's how I run things. So yeah, hopefully my students are picking up things and getting good in like
people look very happy on their stories and
exactly,
pictures, and it
yeah.
looks like the mats are always wet, So
exactly, that's like one of the best feeling. Yeah, like everybody goes hard and like alhamdulillah, there's still a lot of tough towns in town, but like I'm getting some really really good guys coming for some personal training, inviting guys like Mido. For sure.
Yeah,
and actually, my upcoming BJJ Stars events, there's this guy, Fabrizio.
Who's that?
Andre. He's just built like a meter too.
Okay.
Yeah, very
He's
fast.
here?
Yeah. No, he's gonna be in the tournament,
Okay,
so I might
okay.
potentially go against him. So that's why I've been training with the meter a
I
lot lately, just
understand.
to get
Is
used to
that the
training.
next tournament now, the upcoming
Yeah,
one?
that's gonna be on 26 in São Paulo, Brazil.
26th
Yeah,
this month
yeah, yeah. This month, yeah,
in Brazil.
in Brazil. Yeah,
So when are you flying?
I fly out on the 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, it's gonna be and
But
the
what
22nd.
type of tournament is that?
It's an 8-man bracket, and obviously there's a big cash prize in the end. And yeah, there's a couple of top guys here. The cyborg in that too, actually.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know when this is gonna be out, but
After,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah,
After.
okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah,
After.
because it's gonna be like all the talking I've done. Like, okay, I'm gonna kill this guy. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. But I'm pretty confident. I'm in the best shape I am right now. Everything is going like cardio wise. Physically feeling stronger. Everything being well, and like less distraction here for sure. I've been like more on the dean and everything. So yeah, spiritually,
Alhamdulillah.
mentally, physically, I'm feeling my best, honestly.
Yes,
And
brother.
so I'm excited. I'm excited to go out there and put on the show.
Yes,
again.
brother. Good stuff.
And like
yeah.
there's a lot of like killers like Pedro Moreno is in there, Fabricio Andre, Cyborg, Devante Johnson, myself, and I think a couple of up and comers too, and I think Josh Sanders, the Australian big dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
Interesting one,
yeah. And or everybody's at least an ADCC veteran in the division. So yeah,
When can we watch this?
It's actually gonna be on Flow Grappling.
On Flow Grappling, yeah.
It's gonna be live on Flow Grappling. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So inshallah, I feel good. I feel good about this for sure.
Good stuff.
Mhm.
What are you doing after training? Any supplements? Any what recovery plans? How does that look like? That part?
It definitely might go to the creatine, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
It helps, and like
If you
protein
pull the
shake,
armbar,
yeah.
add a little extra strength. Yeah.
Yeah, and creatines and like protein shakes, stuff like that. Some magnesium.
You
to
do
help
cold
sleep.
plunges and stuff.
Actually, I'm not a big fan of cold plunges.
Why
I'm
you
more
don't
like a
like? You
sauna.
just don't like.
I don't like the cold. I don't do well in the cold.
But you know it better than everyone else. You got out of your comfort zone, you get something great, right?
Exactly. Actually, I did a minute in the cold plunge yesterday. Shout out to Miracle. We trained together. Like he was like, "Yo, you can do it." Yeah, and it's just like I can't stand it. Like my shin.
Oh, it's painful.
Yeah,
It is
it's
painful.
like people just breathe. I don't know how you do it, but like some guys can last for like 3, 4, 5 minutes. I don't know how.
But
you
it's
do
possible. It is
Yeah.
really possible.
Yeah, I could barely survive a minute.
No,
I did
I
a
know
minute yesterday. Yeah. But if there's like a sauna, I prefer to do saunas and then maybe jump in the cold plunge real quickly, something like that.
I'm not prepared for this one, definitely. But after 2 minutes, there was something. If you reach the 2 minutes
Yeah.
in cold, it has incredible health benefits. You can look it up. You have to
Yeah.
reach 2 minutes, and then like what happens in your body is like incredible.
That's great. I mean, yeah,
It's incredible.
It feels nice.
If you
afterwards.
read
Yeah.
about this, then you're like, let's go. I'm just
Really,
doing
yeah.
it.
Apparently, I heard it's like, sorry, I didn't mean to cut.
Don't know.
But like, I heard like staying in past 3 minutes doesn't really benefit you anymore. If
Yeah, you don't
stay-
have to stay there
yeah,
like for,
past
but it
3
says
minutes,
like
yeah.
the 2 minutes, and
Yeah.
then you're good.
Yeah, yeah.
I met this guy, Wim Hof. Have you ever heard about
Yeah,
him?
I've heard it.
I
This
met
guy's
him.
Like,
I met him in Holland.
Oh, you did? Meet
Yeah, I met him. I
Okay.
was with him for a weekend. I learned the cold stuff from him
Yeah.
and the breathing and stuff. It was really interesting. So he was setting up a whole.
That's crazy, man. Like I've seen some of his videos. Like
Yeah, this is the guy's on a different level. Like he goes to Mount Everest in
I've
boxer
seen-
shorts and stuff. Like no, it's not a
how's that
joke.
possible?
He stays in cold water, like with ice and stuff, for more than 2 hours, and his core body temperature does not change. It's not affecting. It's not changing. And he goes, it's all here, and like that's so.
Bro, what?
Yeah, brother. So look, he's setting up this little pool with ice, full of ice, brother. Like in Europe, in Germany, if you put the shower full cold, bro, it's so cold, it's painful, right? So we have that water from his garden, and it was like May or something in Holland. It was not April or something. It was cold. It was cold. So he was putting that water from a garden
Yeah.
thing there, like
Into
fills it
ice.
up, and then ice cubes and full. And he goes, go in there. You stay in there for 5 minutes. I'm like, whatever. Like I try. So I'm sitting in there like all like this, like shivering. And he goes, just don't do it. And it was so simple. the solution. And it sounds so crazy,
Wait,
but he
just don't
just said,
shiver?
no, he just don't do it. Just relax. And then I was looking at it. It took me like 10 seconds. But I said, you know what? Let's try. And then I just relaxed my body. And I just breathed in like a couple of times. It was still painful. Like I was so in the zone. But then like after 15, 20 breaths, like I felt like I can lose that every second again, like if I'm going somewhere else now. But if I
Okay.
was like, okay, I'm controlling this now.
Yeah.
And then I was just in that zone. And then it was beautiful. And then I got
Wow.
out of that. It was amazing. So he told me that like in that cold thing. And since that, every time I go in the cold, I'm
Really?
good. Like yeah, I need like 10 seconds or something like to get in that zone.
Yeah.
But it's all about breathing, man. It's all about breathing and like where you go with your head. And then you can do it. It's crazy, man. I went to a point I was getting addicted. So every time it was winter, I went
Yeah.
to frozen lakes and stuff. And I went.
Man, you're crazy.
Yeah, I went because it was so nice. It's doing a lot of stuff. Like
That's
it's
wild,
really
man.
helping. It's really helping.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, definitely gotta be beneficial. But yeah, I'm still.
Yeah, bro, it sucks. It's
Alright, I gotta. Maybe you can coach me through it someday. Let's see.
yeah, let's see, brother. Let's see,
That's
brother.
good, that's good,
I'm
yeah.
hungry. Want to go eat something?
Yeah, I'll love to. Yeah,
What do you like? What are you missing from Japan? Do you like ramen?
I do love ramen. Actually,
I show you ramen place. Let me invite you to ramen.
Okay, yeah.
Are you up to that?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
wrap this up. Then.
Yeah, for
But,
sure.
unless
for
you want to say something else.
sure.
Anything
Again,
we missed?
I'm in town. Just give a shout out to Booker Team, Booker Gym, and if you wanna up your level in the nogi, come train with us.
Thank you so much, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank
Thanks,
you very
brother.
much.
It was good
I
to have
really
you here,
appreciate
brother.
it. Yeah.
Really, no, I
Yeah,
appreciate
it went by
it.
fast, and again, anytime again, maybe after my BJJ starts, we can do a review or something.
Yes,
Yeah,
brother,
for
100%.
sure.
We stay in
Yeah.
touch. Let's train
Yeah,
together
for
as well.
sure,
Let me
yeah.
learn
Please
something
come
from you, brother.
true. Come true. We would
Thank
love
you.
to have you, man, for sure.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone, for watching this episode with Haisam. I hope you enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. Like, subscribe, come visit Haisam, come visit me. Let's have some training. See you on the next one. Bye.